about time for a monthly mashup. Now, for this one, since I didn't get a lot of reading done over these last couple months, it's just been way too busy, I decided to switch things up and do a Q&A for this one because it's been a while and you guys asked me a bunch of questions, so I'm gonna try to answer as many of them as I can. But first, Redbubble sent me a bunch of awesome products, which I'm excited to show you guys. Now, this video is sponsored by Redbubble, and I have been a big fan of Redbubble for quite a while. I've bought several clothing items from there before because there's so many awesome designs. Redbubble is a platform where independent artists can sell their artwork on a huge variety of everyday products. Everything from phone cases, clothing, art prints, even tapestries and notebooks. There's so many products and designs to choose from. There's really something for everyone. Now, the theme for this haul is simply my favorite things, and I created a gift catalog which will have all the items I'm just about to show you linked in the description if you want to check that out. Also, Redbubble hooked me up with a coupon code, so make sure to use the code RBC-F20-captured in words to get 15% off your entire order, and that code is good until July 31st. Actually, the shirt I'm wearing right now was sent to me by Redbubble. I'm a big fan of line art or minimalist designs, and this one just really stood out to me. It's one of my new favorite shirts. Next is another shirt. This time it is a red fox design. Now, foxes are one of my favorite animals, and I love the kind of paint smear artwork of this one. Honestly, one of the reasons I was drawn to it is that it reminds me of the shape of the Final Fantasy VII logo, and I love Final Fantasy VII, plus I love foxes. It was a perfect match. The next item is this books and coffee mug, which is two of my favorite things that are very dear to my heart, plus I just really love mugs. I kind of collect them. I have way too many mugs, but at the same time, not enough. So of course, I had to get this one. Plus, it's double-sided, which is a nice bonus. The next item is also related to books and coffee. You can see where my priorities are. I really love the design on this one for obvious reasons. The only thing better than a mug is a travel mug, and I use travel mugs all the time, but like 80% of the time I burn my tongue on them. But that doesn't stop me. Now, the next two items are both hardcover journals, and I'll start with my favorite one first. The title for this is Unleashed Imagination, which I think is the perfect name. I'm definitely going to be using this for writing down all the book ideas. And the last journal is this Midnight Lake design, which I thought looked really cool. I'm actually going to be using this as a dream journal because I have a lot of dreams, and I found that if you begin to write them down, your brain kind of remembers to have dreams more often. Let me know if you write down your dreams, because I always find it really fun to go back and read through some dreams I had years ago that I would never have remembered otherwise. And the final Redbubble items are some stickers that I ordered. Now, I usually don't buy stickers, but they have so many awesome ones on Redbubble, I kinda wanna start collecting them. I just don't really know what to do with stickers. The first one is an astronaut cozying up in some galaxy pizza, and the next one is a cat sleeping on a bunch of books, which I thought was really cute as well. And the next two stickers, we have Turnip Head, because who doesn't love Turnip Head, and also Marty McFly. Now, I have been obsessed with Back to the Future ever since I was around 4 years old. Marty McFly was my hero, and I just thought this sticker was really cute. Again, I don't really know what to do with stickers. If you have any recommendations on where I should put these stickers, then let me know. So that's about it for the Redbubble haul. Thank you again to Redbubble for sponsoring this video, and now it's time to move on to the Q&A. What's the very first fantasy book you ever read? I don't know exactly what the first one I read was, but one of the early books I read was Medallion by Don L. Watkins. I believe it's a Christian fantasy book, and this is actually my school's copy. I guess I liked it so much, I don't think I ever gave it back. I haven't read it since. I'm positive it does not hold up, so I don't really want to ruin my childhood. But I think the series that had the biggest influence on me when I was younger were the Deltora Quest books by Emily Rada. These were my childhood. I reread them so many times. So there's a few questions asking about my own writing. So yes, I am working on a book. It is the first of what's going to be an epic fantasy series. I will say that it is fairly early on right now. I'm not quite ready to share any details yet, but when the time comes, I will be updating on the channel, and I will be looking for some beta readers as well. Vincent Bourne asked, what has been your favorite book you've read this year so far, and why? For me, the favorite book I've read, probably Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft, because it's just such a breath of fresh air. It just has such a unique premise, and just his writing style in general is very beautiful. It feels like you're reading a classic. I have yet to read the other books in the series, but I will be starting book 2 very soon. What's your most disappointing fantasy book you've ever read? The one that comes to mind for me is actually a trilogy, and it's gonna be controversial, but the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. It wasn't bad per se, I read all 3 of them, so it wasn't terrible, but I just didn't think it was great. There was a lot of just obvious plot devices and plot holes. I didn't care for the writing, and the main character, Lila Bard, oh boy, she constantly tries to be badass for the sake of being edgy, and she just didn't really have any redeemable qualities, not to mention she didn't have any character growth by the end as well. Anyway, I feel like the main premise was really interesting, but it just had a poor execution, and the first book was kind of the best. Maybe it should have stayed as one book. It wasn't a book for me. Do you have any kind of schedule in order to help you do everything that you like? For hobbies, I don't like to make a schedule. I just call that procrastination, and I procrastinate a lot. But as far as work, I'll make a schedule for that. But otherwise, I'm not really the type of person that likes to make schedules. How do you find time to read all the books? I really don't find the time, and I wish that I had more time so I could read more books. Do you read classics, and if so, what's your favorite? I do read classics. The Sherlock Holmes stories are always some of my favorites. I also love Oliver Twist. A Christmas Carol, I reread every few Christmases or so, and also Peter Pan and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. What are your favorite fantasy books with a female lead / main character? Vin from the Mistborn books is one of my all-time favorite characters. There's a few parts where I feel like she made some dumb decisions, but I really like her character a lot, as well as Shallan from the Stormlight Archive. She is another favorite lead character of mine, and Spensa from Skyward, though that's more sci-fi. I just realized all of these are Brandon Sanderson books. They're the first ones that came to my mind. So who edit your videos? Me edit my videos. Have you ever had an injury or gone under the knife? I have dislocated my shoulder 4 times. The very first time I dislocated it, I was skateboarding and I was coming down a half pipe, and I decided that it would be a great time to try and do a kickflip. Despite never having ever done a kickflip before and not knowing how to do one. And of course, I fell and my shoulder went up and it dislocated. And then the second time, I was trying to break the school record of jumping over garbage cans, which I did beat. I jumped over 5 garbage cans, but I dislocated my shoulder, so I don't know if that counts. So then it became a chronic dislocation thing where it would pop out really easily, and I actually had to pop it in myself one time, which was not a nice feeling, so I had to get surgery on it, and I now have 2 scars right here and 1 scar on the back. So in short, I made a lot of dumb choices. Did you go to university? If so, what did you study? So I went to college for a writing and publishing degree, so I had a lot of creative writing classes, as well as editing and design. This is where I learned a lot about book design and magazines and posters and stuff like that. I also got to learn and practice like traditional letterpress printing, which I found really fun. Who are your favorite Sanderson characters? Oh man, Kaladin, Dalinar, Hoyd, Shallan, Vin, Yasna, Vasher, Wayne, Rock. Oh my goodness, there's so many. What would you say to the people bashing Jordan for the sexism in his Wheel of Time series? People criticized him for the way he wrote his female characters and the way they act towards men. And what are more exciting about the upcoming TV show? I don't get the last part, but I am excited for the upcoming TV show, if that's what you mean. But as far as the sexism, so here's the thing, it's not all the female characters, it is the Aes Sedai, and there is a very, glaringly obvious reason why the Aes Sedai treat men the way that they do. Not to mention, there is a culture around the Aes Sedai training that basically instills this arrogance in them, so there's many Aes Sedai that do treat men horribly. Not all of them, but there are many, and I feel like this makes sense. It's a realistic outcome of what happened in the past, and the entire point of the series is about bringing back the balance to the world. And over time, we do see some Aes Sedai kind of break away from these traditions. But I definitely can't really form a complete opinion yet because I've only read up to book 4, so I don't know what happens later on. But I do feel like some people maybe forget that there's a reason why the Aes Sedai act the way that they do. Could you say something about Doors of Stone from Patrick Rothfuss? Everywhere says an August release date. So both Amazon and Book Depository, well, Amazon owns Book Depository, but they have both given The Doors of Stone a release date of August 2020. And I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that is just a placeholder. They do this all the time for unreleased books, and they've done this in the past for The Doors of Stone, and it didn't come out then, and they've also done it for The Thorn of Emberlane, the 4th Gentleman Bastards book. So I'm sorry to say, it is just a placeholder. What are your thoughts on the 3rd Kingkiller Chronicle book and the time it's taking Patrick Rothfuss to publish it? So here's the thing, I never understand how aggressive some parts of the fanbase can be. I get hate comments for Pat on all my Kingkiller Chronicle videos, and I just think that hating on an author for taking their time is a very entitled thing. There's plenty of other fantasy books to read in the meantime, so it doesn't really bug me. Curtis Williams asked, how are you and your mom doing, especially with COVID about? Thank you for asking. Honestly, it's been really rough. For those of you that don't know, I've talked about this on my Discord server. Obviously not everyone's gonna know about it because I tend to not really open up about really personal subjects on my channel. But for the last going on 11 months now, I've been taking care of my mom, who has been suffering from a lot of health issues. She was actually bedridden for the majority of those months. And so she has a pinched spinal cord and spinal degeneration. And on top of all of this, she also has Lyme disease, and she had an MRI done. I'm gonna try not to cry, but she had an MRI done where that's where she discovered she had a compressed spinal cord and severe stenosis and a bulged disc and arthritis. And then they also found that she has brain lesions, which is probably the scariest thing because they're pretty sure there's something neurological going on that's related to all of this, but they're not sure what. They think it could be multiple sclerosis, but that's not confirmed yet. And she's been put on a waiting list. Before COVID, she was put on a waiting list to see a neurologist. And the waiting list was already very long, and now because of COVID and everything, it's been pushed back even further. And we just don't know now when she's gonna see a neurologist and when we're gonna figure out what's going on neurologically. More recently, she's been seeing a chiropractor, and she's had x-rays and nerve scans done, so we actually got to see how bent and damaged her spine is, and it's pinching like different nerves. But she has been seeing some really good improvements from the chiropractor. She's been able to walk around now. She's not bedridden. Her neck is still always in a lot of pain, and she has to use a wheelchair if she's going out of the house, and she has to wear a neck guard, but it's still gonna take a lot of time. Obviously, it's very expensive going to the chiropractor and also getting treatments for her Lyme disease, and she hasn't worked in a long time because of all of this. So I've been trying to pick up more work recently to try and help support her as well and to try and help with these treatments. But it's definitely been a very tight time. It's been very difficult, and yeah, her best friend actually recently made her up a GoFundMe page. So if you do feel drawn to want to donate to that, that would help her with treatments and everything, and she would appreciate that so much. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Obviously, just if you want to help out, I'm not trying to beg you to donate to this, but it would help out a lot. How to transition from such a serious topic? I'm just gonna jump into the next question. Grace K. McCall asked, what books are too close to home right now? Example, too much disease paranoia for Elantris at the moment, etc., etc. Funnily enough, I'm actually reading through Elantris right now. There's not really too much that I think I wouldn't read right now. It doesn't really affect my reading habits, but I do understand why some people wouldn't want to read something that has to do with disease or pandemics at this time. Well, my camera died, so I guess it's the end of the Q&A video, but I just got back from checking my P.O. box, and I was sent a bunch of books, so I thought I should probably just open them up right now. So first of all of these were sent to me by Santi. I won't say your full name, just in case you don't want me to, but you know who you are, and thank you so much for sending me some books. I'm excited to see what the first one is. It feels like a hardcover. It is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is like the 10th anniversary edition, I think. This edition is beautiful. Thank you so much for sending it to me. Box number 2. The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I haven't bought any books for like months now, but this was one that I was gonna splurge on. So thank you for sending it to me. I can't wait to read this, and I'll definitely be reviewing it on my channel. That was a fail. And it is The Burning White by Brent Weeks. This is the final Lightbringer book, so now I have no excuse. I collected books 1 to 4, and I told myself that I would start the series once I got the final book, and I would binge my way through it all, because I know I'm gonna read through it fast. I really liked the Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks, and I've heard that Lightbringer is even better, and now I got the final book, so I'm definitely gonna have to make some videos on Lightbringer. Thank you so much, Santi, for sending all of the books. I'm excited to read all of these. So that's about it for this monthly mashup. If I didn't get to your question, then make sure to ask it in the next Q&A, and I'll try my best to get to it. And if you want to help support the channel and have your name added to the magical scroll, then make sure to check out my Patreon.